let's get some positivity in there, my friends. Because when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, there are a number of guys that we can say have looked good in their prospect pipeline. Some are in the NCAA, others are overseas. You got guys chilling in the Canadian Hockey League, and you have some in the American Hockey League. With this in mind, though, I wanted to stick around in the AHL's Laval Rocket system for a bit and talk about a guy who has arguably been the, dare I say, the best Montreal Canadiens defenseman prospect this season. And yes, that includes all the guys that were shipped away. You had names like Logan Mailloux and Justin Barron, to an extent, removed from the Canadiens organization through various means the past few months. But I wanted to go out there and talk about a guy that we might not have given too much of a spotlight to. And that's my bad. But make no mistake about it, this guy's been very, very strong. Today, we are talking about Montreal Canadiens prospect Adam Engstrom, out of the Laval Rocket and heading into the future. Because Engstrom is a guy who just came off the heels of a gosh darn 5-point game in the American Hockey League, and this is something that we absolutely cannot go out there and ignore. We are referring to Saturday night's matchup in the American Hockey League between the aforementioned Laval Rocket and the Belleville Senators, wherein the Rocket won 7-2. This was actually a really strong game for defensemen in general, because not only did you see David Reinbacher score 2 goals on the night, but Adam Engstrom had a goal and 4 assists for 5 total points. I mean, it's quite the showing, you can say. Sean Farrell had 2 goals and an assist. Philip Mayshar had a goal and an assist. Owen Beck had 3 assists, and Jacob Fowler went out there and stopped 14 out of 16 total shots that he had faced. My condolences to Jackson Parsons on the other side, who had to face 37 shots and allowed 7 goals. But aside David Reinbacher's dual goal performance, I wanted to focus on Adam Engstrom and just where this game puts him point production-wise, and just how he's played in general. Because Engstrom heading into Saturday's contest was at 14 points in 18 games, on pace for 56 points. Refresh it all, and he is now at 19 points in 19 games, literally on pace for a point-per-game campaign. Not bad for a guy who made his AHL debut last year at 21 years old, and who was able to score 27 points in 66 games played. In fact, happy belated birthday to Adam Engstrom. He had turned 22 on the 17th of November, so it's just been a short little while. He's 6'2", 190, left-handed defenseman, drafted by Montreal in the 2022 draft, 3rd round, 92nd overall. I think a lot of folks didn't really pay too much attention to Engstrom because most of his development post-draft has been in the SHL, but make no mistake about it, despite the fact that Engstrom was chilling over there in Sweden, getting his games and getting some points, this guy was really developing into a strong NHL prospect. And that's highlighted by the scouting report that Elite Prospects had in this guy all the way back in 2022. Engstrom's pace is good, and he can travel well with the puck and join the attack as well. He plays a strong rush defense. Adam has a good passing game and scans the ice to find open passes. He pushes the play ahead and does not need to go for his first instinct and can have multiple solutions with the puck. He is listed as a puck-moving defenseman, a two-way defenseman on Elite Prospects, and those were all pretty evident skills that he had in Sweden. He can move, he can make plays, he can be confident with the puck on his stick. And heading over into the AHL last year, as we said, he had not terrible production, but it was a first year similar to many others' first years from Europe over to North America. He has to get used to the ice surface, he has to get used to the style, the speed of the game, etc., etc. And it seems like Engstrom has been fully able to capitalize on that now, because he's a point-per-game guy in the AHL, to open up this season. I mean, there is so much to like out of Adam Engstrom, especially with David Reinbacher on his pair. The fact that Reinbacher was able to unload some one-timers and get some goals to go too, this could be a pretty good pairing long term. If you keep things the way they are right now, and you add that Engstrom and Reinbacher pairing to the Montreal Canadiens decor, I mean, you thought things were a logjam now. Just wait till those guys are both NHL ready. I think a prime Montreal Canadiens decor looks like probably Dobson and, ideally you'd want Hudson there, but Matheson has been pretty strong too. Who knows if the Canadiens are going to keep Matheson though, so it's kind of difficult to fully project that. For the sake of argument, let's just say Dobson-Hudson, for example. And then you can have Goulet-Carrier. And then Engstrom, Reinbacher. That's pretty strong if everybody pulls their weight. Heck, you can remove Carrier, try to re-sign Matheson, have him play with Dobson, and then have Hudson and Goulet. Have one guy play on the right side. Who knows if that's actually an option as well. But Reinbacher and Engstrom developing the chemistry that they have, it really shines a bright light on what the Canadiens can potentially do. If Engstrom even gets a call-up, honestly, I think that's quite reasonable at some point, especially if Montreal tries to move things around with their decor. We know that everybody's been disappointed with Arbor Xhekaj the past little while. But the best part about Adam Engstrom that we've seen in the AHL thus far, I'm going to say, it's his mobility. Yeah, the puck movement, yeah, the point production, that's all strong, and you kind of need to get those results to prove your value as an NHL prospect. But the mobility is what allows him to get a lot of these points in the first place. I mean, his skating is so fluid, it's quick, and he protects the puck pretty nicely as well. Just the way he traverses the offensive zone. He pitter-patters, he handles it, he shoots, he scores goals, he makes beautiful plays. I mean, at the time of Saturday's Belleville game, Adam Engstrom getting the goal that he had scored, well, that puts him as the only defenseman in the American Hockey League with 5+ goals, at least at the time of Saturday's AHL contests. Things might change by the time this video is uploaded on YouTube, who really knows. But already, we're starting to see Montreal Canadiens fans project Engstrom into the long-term future of this Canadiens team. They're talking about Reinbacher, they're talking about Engstrom's future, they're talking about where these guys can go. They're talking about whether or not this changes up the dynamic of the decor as it stands right now. I'm honestly of the mindset that it'd be beneficial to keep Engstrom in the AHL, for this season at least. You don't have to rush him, you don't have to toss him to the Wolves, let him dominate in the American Hockey League and then bring him up next year to open up the season after a preseason stint. I think that's probably the more realistic way to go about it, but if the Montreal Canadiens decide at some point, hey, we need a little bit more mobility, we need a little bit more offensive pizzazz from the blue liners, we need a little bit more stability there, maybe Engstrom gets a chance, who really knows? I'd honestly bet a wager to say that he's probably more NHL ready than Reinbacher is at this point. And that shouldn't really be too surprising when you consider the fact that, yeah, he's a little bit older. He does have a lot more pro experience in Sweden. Reinbacher was in Switzerland, and quite frankly, his team there wasn't really all too good. So I do think that there is more value to what Engstrom has had to go through so far in his development. But you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Montreal Canadiens D-man prospect Adam Engstrom, what he's been able to do so far, the point-per-game status on the weekend, the 5-point game against Belleville? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.